Merry Christmas to those who celebrate, unless I decided to put this up on the 26th for some reason. And did you really think I'd let you go a whole holiday hootenanny without a custom art video? Who do you think I am? The Grinch? The Grink? No, I'm Karn. And as is time-honored tradition now, as in we've done it once the year before, we like to take some of the most requested Digimon evolutions from my comment section and across the internet in Digimon fandom and try to bring them to life. And so my Christmas present to you is just that.
Ho, ho, ho. Karn EX. Happy holidays!
What is up, digital companions? My name is Karn EX and welcome to your last custom art video of 2024, but it's not going to be the last custom art video on this channel by a long chalk. And as you all know by now, custom art videos are helped made possible thanks to patreon.com/Karn EX. Everyone who supports me over there on Patreon, I put the money directly back into funding custom art videos, custom art thumbnails, etc. But in particular, my Sovereign tier and my Deva tier directly pay for custom art. So thank you to my Sovereigns, ZDK14 and Ran McGrayfire, and the Davers who paid for the art in this video, Hefe Von Coughing, GW, and Hylarin. If you also want to support me on patreon.com/Karn EX, it would mean the absolute world, but if you can't monetarily, I understand it is a difficult time of year for many of us. Just hit like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, it would mean the world. Alright, the first missing Digimon evolution that we're creating today is for Witchmon. This might seem odd at first, but bear with me because what we're trying to create today is a bridging gap between Witchmon and Bielstarmon. Just like in Digimon Cross Wars, we finally got Balmon, which now bridges the gap between Impmon, Wizardmon, and basically both versions of Bielsamon. So I recruited All Trade for this, and he brought to life Arukenimon. He wanted to hit on design notes that felt the same as Balmon, in this instance having clear traits of Bielstarmon and a solid connection between Witchmon and the Gun Lady. As a result, All Trade thought that an alchemist made sense, the bridge between magic and the more technological guns. And because alchemy and bullets both run back to basically the same thing, controlled explosions. All Trade imagined that she's constantly studying, experimenting, and trying to steal any knowledge she can from Balmon and its book to further her research. You can see the mix here definitely between Witchmon and the Bielstarmon elements, with steampunk and tech elements to really push the transition, which is why she also has a respirator, and the scarf hands are of course a nod to Witchmon's huge freaking grabbers, as All Trade says. And also her hat inside is a cosmos, an endless open void to represent her endless potential for learning. Arukenimon is a sorcerer and slinger of the digital world, pilfering information from Balmon to make her own alchemic experiments go further. She'll use potions like grenades with her mix and match attack, and also can fire crossbows from her feet in a bow barrage. Also, there's some digicode in that book. Yeah, you can have fun translating that in your own time. Moving over, recently we have had some evolutions for long-standing original 1997 and 1998 Digimon, such as Shin Monzaemon for Monzaemon and Waru Monzaemon, Dinomon for Tyrannomon. Well, we did already have things like Rust Tyrannomon for the Tyrannomon family. Dinomon is more of a traditional non-mechanical evolution for Tyrannomon and Master Tyrannomon, and Shin Monzaemon finally capped the line off. I know we talk a lot about the fact that Digivolution is very free in Digimon, but it is evidently clear, especially in things like the anime, that visual cohesion evolution lines are a thing, and in things like Digimon Liberator we're seeing that more and more. Digimon like Shellmon getting new evolutions in Marine Bullmon and Ryugamon, just finishing off anime style lines for long-standing Digimon that perhaps deserve a little of that anime style love. The one that I think has been completely slept on by Digimon Creative to this point is ShogunGekomon, or Tonosama Gekomon, the evolution of course of Gekomon and Otamamon. And so I got the GOAT Weirdomon to design that mega level Digimon, Emperor Gekomon. As far as I know, the only rank above Shogun and indeed above all feudal lords is Emperor, and Tonosama itself just means feudal lord. So in Japanese and English, Emperor Gekomon would make sense, plus it'd be nice to have another Emperor Digimon. Tonosama may also come from Tonosama Gaeru, which means black spotted frog, and we do lose that element there. There's not really like an Emperor frog or anything, there's an Emperor penguin obviously, but I think for the obvious traditional Japanese court theme that Shogun ShogunGekomon has, the name Emperor-Gekomon works just fine. The ShogunGekomon top knot has evolved even further, and its horns, once capable of melodies, are now capable of entire orchestra performances. Surrounded and supported by Gekomon, with golden Otamamon either side, this is beautiful. Weirdamon even has this alt art with an entire army of its predecessors, including ShogunGekomon. Truly, this emperor is highly regarded and supported by its entire feudal court. A brilliant tactician and fan of music, Emperor-Gekomon dominates the karaoke scene, but even while sleeping, its horns emit a lullaby that send all around it to sleep too. This is perfect for when its companions need rest, but also it can be diverted towards solely the enemy's eardrums. This is Emperor-Gekomon's lazy lullaby. And speaking of Dinomon and Tyrannomon earlier, another, in my opinion, very slept on Digimon for its own evolution is Ex-Tyrannomon. Given its other puppet Digimon contemporaries, Monzaemon and Etamon, have been given such great treatment, particularly in the last 5 to 10 years. Like I said, we've got Shin Monzaemon now. Etamon has had Metal Etamon since basically the beginning. We also have things like King Etamon now too. It just made sense to me and a lot of people on the internet that the plush dinosaur with a darkness inside needed its own mega form. And what would be more appropriate for this whole theme of Digimon Liberator giving Tyrannomon a new designated mega besides Rust Tyrannomon than Ex-Tyrannomon continuing to be the Mimikyu, if you will, of the Tyrannomon family. And as such, Weirdamon and I present Ex-Dinomon. Yeah, with Dinomon being revealed this year, it just felt like such an obvious thing to me that our Ex-Tyrannomon custom art in the same year would homage this, and I love what Weirdamon's done here. It definitely feels like an evolution of Ex-Tyrannomon, but you can see how it's also aping Dinomon. Instead of the fire erupting from Dinomon's arms, we have the stuffing from inside the plush exploding out, but there is still this digital fire from the chest. Dinomon to me also resembles Flamedramon, and you can see that in this design too, with the Digi-Egg of Courage style legs and horns popping out of the knees. It's so evocative of the Tyrannomon family, obviously Dinomon in specific, and still feels like an evolution of Ex-Tyrannomon, which I adore. And yes, there's even that dark passenger inside. I'm watching a little bit too much Dexter recently, I think. Well, it's unknown why the puppet Digimon chose to stuff itself inside a Tyrannomon plush. It now clearly has become something it is fond of. When it digivolves through, it's yearning to be stronger and to prove itself to its other puppet compatriots, Ex-Dinomon appears. With an incredible offensive and defensive power set, it being a plush is clearly deceptive as it can hold its own on any battlefield. But it still yearns for a master to truly help guide its ability, otherwise it is often seen slumped in corners. Ex-Dinomon has 2 moves, the flame-proof Inferno where it lights up the stuffing on its arms and fires it as projectiles like a rocket, and it also has the antimatter compression, forcing its opponent to stare into its eyes, its true eyes, and sucking them in like a black hole never to be seen again. Okay, now this is something people have been asking for. I've seen it on the internet, I can probably prove it, but this one's also a little bit for me. I wanted to finally create something that I think was appropriate as a mega specifically for the Arukenimon from Digimon Adventure 02. Now I know Parasimon exists, I totally understand Parasimon works for her, but I just wanted something specifically that advances that kind of character of Arukenimon that I loved so much as a kid, and I love now. The idea of her becoming Parasimon is fine, but I wanted something more feminine for her personality, maybe if she was reborn and gained more power after the great voring of 02. So I got HLR Art on board to create the Arukenimon Mega Jorogumon, named after the Jorogumo, a yokai spider that can shapeshift into a beautiful woman that can control fire-breathing spiders. And oh my god, I don't know if I can even put this on YouTube. I think it's fine. An absolutely gorgeous evolution of Arukenimon that also evokes other feminine mega-level Digimon like Lilithmon. Indeed, this could equally be an evolution for Lady Devimon or something like that. I love how HLR expanded elements of Arukenimon, these kind of like horns on the head, and of course the hair branching out into this frame of her spider legs to become almost like spider silk. This in particular reminds me of the Charlotte Witter incarnation of Spider-Woman. I was a big fan of that whole Charlotte Witter, Matty Franklin era of Spider-Women and Spider-Girls. So this has nailed it for me. It's absolutely a great Arukenimon evolution, and I love that the spider element is so key still to her design, while being even more sexy than I could imagine. Jorogumon is known as the mother of spiders. She lives in a palace lost in the middle middle of the forest. And in fact, her hair extends throughout that forest, letting her know about everything that happens inside her web. It is said that if you find her palace, it's not a coincidence. She led you there, and you are already dead. She will ensnare you and leave no trace behind in her Black Widow's web. But you know, if we're doing Arukenimon, we kind of have to do Mummymon too. Now again, I will say Pharaohmon is a fantastic mega evolution for Mummymon. I think it would do absolutely fine. And I just wanted, if we were going to do a custom art for Arukenimon, give my boy Mummymon some love too. Literally just an excuse to give Mummymon more options, because why wouldn't we? And HLR also took this one, giving us something really different. A kind of cyberpunk Mummymon known as Duatmon, named after Duat, the name of the underworld for ancient Egyptians, which of course fits the theme of Mummymon and Pharaohmon. HLR pictured Duatmon as Mummymon brought back to life in some sort of cyberpunk future after his crushing death, just like Arukenimon would be revived too in this instance. Duatmon has made up for its oafishness as a Mummymon by becoming supremely intelligent, a great analyst, and fearsome fighter capable of flight, cementing itself in the hierarchy of Egyptian Digimon. Although it yearns for its lover Shakkoumon, it now also feels confident enough to act under its own morals. With just a snap of a finger, it entombs its foes in a sarcophagus of light. Alright, next up is one that has been requested so many times in my comments, on Twitter, on Reddit, and indeed by me. We have wanted this from Bandai for a very long time, and it's never happened. Shakkoumon is not a bad Digimon. The design is actually very cool, but as a kid, I always felt it missed what Paildramon and Sylphimon did, very clearly having elements of both of its DNA contributors. You can see where literally half of Stingmon and half of XVmon make up Paildramon, where half of Gatomon and half of Aquilamon make up Sylphimon. Whereas Shakkoumon kind of resemble Angemon, I guess, in as much that it has like wings and is vaguely holy, and Anquilamon, well, you really have to do some mental gymnastics for that to work. The hard body becomes the hard clay shell of the Dogu, I guess. But that aside, another sore point for a lot of people is that Shakkoumon's general 02 canon mega is supposed to be Vikemon, according to things like the card game and the Vital Bracelet. This continues a pattern of perceived poor treatment of the little Dogu teapot, as Paildramon gets all of its Imperialdramon forms, Sylphimon gets the pretty fantastic Valkyrymon, and Shakkoumon gets to reuse Joe's mega. And alright, sure, there are of course other contenders like /Angemon, which is great on the Angemon side, but in my opinion, loses what's cool about Shakkoumon, and the swords equal the spikes of Anquilamon argument always felt a little flat to me. And then there's my personal pick, Clavis Angemon, but I get where issues lie there too. It's also the by far least used evolution for Shakkoumon. So we wanted something that truly feels like a Shakkoumon Evo, not ignoring design traits made canon by 02, and we wanted something that makes sense standing alongside Imperialdramon and Valkyrymon. And if we can, we want to make it resemble Angemon and Anquilamon a little more than Shakkoumon did, and I believe some guy 944 ticked all those boxes with Zweigenmon. I actually wanted to call this guy Hanuamon, but I remembered we used that name already this time, so we're going with Zweigenmon. Zweijin are Kami warrior guardian figures, Kami or gods that guard over shrine gates and are considered to be Kadomori no Kami, the gods who watch over the gates, making them not dissimilar to the Dogu, who are another kind of figure in traditional Japanese environments. The Zweijin also being associated with Dosojin, who are the protector of crossroads and other boundary areas, made me think of things like the afterlife. And wow, what a fantastic design. You can clearly see how this is an evolution of Shakkoumon, even keeping the little cross on the head, which I requested, but much more of Anquilamon has made its way into this design, with the spiked shoulder pads, the feet being more dinosaur or animalistic, and also the general body proportions are more evocative of things like Angemon, Magna Angemon, and Seraphimon. We even have these like saw blades on the arms, which I think are more true to things like Anquilamon's mace tail than the blades of things like /Angemon. The evolved form of Shakkoumon is here. While some people still find it frightening because of its lack of expression, making it impossible to tell what it's thinking, this angelic protector Digimon now emits positive and calming waves, making all around it not fear. A much more capable brawler now. It is often regarded as the bodyguard of the afterlife, making sure no tricksy, devilish Digimon make their way through. It uses all of the spiked elements on its body to deliver a Holy Ripper attack, but also can ascend into the sky, with light pulsing out from every crack in its body to deliver a divine blaster. Alright, and next, coming to the end, one of the most requested Digivolutions missing from an evolution line is the gap between Bearmon, Gryzmon, and Karlsmon. Yes, finally, a Digimon gap long requested by fans, including myself, made all the more pertinent given the past 12 months, as Karlsmon has finally had appearances in the V-Pets, card games, and official art. Yes, my Christmas present to you this year is to finally bridge that gap, and Dry Designs delivered with Slam Gryzmon. God, this looks fantastic. And of course, Slam Gryzmon, as its name implies, is a baseball player. Dry envisioned this also as kind of a counterpart to Mac Gaugamon and Were Garurumon, with regular Gaugamon and regular Garurumon being quadrupeds, and now Slam Gryzmon, Mac Gaugamon, and Were Garurumon all being bipeds with some new elements, and I guess clothes? The reasons for choosing the baseball theme I think are pretty genius. Of course, first of all, we have Bearmon's baseball cap that it wears and kind of loses his Gryzmon. There is the Chicago Cubs baseball team, and we also have a new Digimon this year, Polar Bearmon, which is based on sports too, just more winter sports. When we look at Gryzmon in Digimon World 3, its line is focused on melee and martial arts, which is cemented with Grappleomon and Marsmon. If we look at Karlsmon, as Dry says, it's more of a corrupted line. In fact, that's what its Digimon reference book hints at, and has this big gun arm, almost like Barrett from Final Fantasy. So Dry felt we needed something in between, and that's why a fast ball thrower felt like a nice balance between strong arms and shooting. Plus, Karlsmon has clothes, so we can easily make the transition from Gryzmon to this. Now, we will acknowledge that this isn't a very corrupted form, but as I said, Karlsmon's Digimon reference book listing does mention that it evolved from a Gryzmon line that went abnormal. So if we keep the Gryzmon suffix, we can still imply it got corrupted and replaced baseballs with bullets, and the catcher's mitt with a gun. Also, while we are depicting it with a baseball, you could easily change this in anime or things like that to be mud balls or rocks that it picks up from the ground, making it to be a nice evolution for things like Mud Frigimon or Babungamon. Slam Gryzmon is a sports hero, known for its incredible fastball attack. It steps up to the plate both for sport and to defend its comrades. But every sporting hero has the potential to take a dive, to throw a softball. Maybe one day, that weakness might manifest into something truly dark for this heroic Digimon. And that is almost it. You know, we've been doing these custom art videos throughout the year, and while my final present to you was Slam Gryzmon, I wanted to finally give my own attempt at a custom Digimon for one of these videos. And you know, throughout the years we have had Gotsumon evolutions, and Gotsumon has a full line of variants, almost, with Gotsumon becoming Icemon at the champion level, and then Meteormon or Insekimon at the ultimate level. But Bandai, you cowards, why did you stop there? We need a mega level Digimon for Gotsumon, taking the rock, ice, and meteors of its prior stage and compressing them in the burning heart of the earth, which is why I tasked Karn EX with creating Diamondmon. I just wanted to put a recolored Gotsumon on the end here, but look, it's shiny! Happy Christmas, everyone. And to those that don't celebrate, I hope you're having a fantastic December. Thank you, of course, once again to my sovereigns, Ranma Greyfire and ZDK14, and my Davers, Hefe Von Coughing, Hylarin, and GW. Thank you all so much for watching this video. We've got one more video for December. That will be after Christmas, closer to the end of the year. But I hope you all have an absolutely phenomenal rest of your day, rest of your year, and I will see you next time when we go digital. Bye-bye.